Right here in this very room are the people who know the true story of the Jonestown Massacre. They're playing pool, clinking pints together, catching up on each other's lives and careers. Joel Guion is here. Miranda Lee Richards is here. David Darasinski is here. You might know them from Andi Timoner's 2004 documentary, Dig, and if you haven't seen it yet, I apologize in advance for the coming spoilers. It's about to be my 29th birthday, and I'm at the Desert Sun, Desert Stars Festival in Pioneertown, California, sitting in a corner of the main dining room at Patty and Harriet's, which is filled with the whole LA scene, or at least the part of it that matters to us. Pioneertown is tucked away just off the Palm Springs Highway near Joshua Tree, a mini theme park ghost town put up against a backdrop of smoothed out white sandstone walls. It's quite peaceful, really, and Anton Newcomb's 29th birthday is the first we see of him in Dig, so in a way this is a fitting beginning. Anton Newcomb is the father of the Jonestown Massacre. That's the best way to describe his role in it. He is both itself and its master, and he works very hard at its music. He was born to do it, he'd say, and if anyone really knows the Jonestown Massacre story from start to finish, Anton is that person. Because he is the Jonestown Massacre, and as such, he is the only one who can tell that story. But he's not here, and nor is he in this room. So I'll do my best, because what else would you expect? Some people, not all but some, over the course of my BJM adventures wrote me off as a slacker or an amateur, or both, but that's only because when I started this gig, I had no fucking clue what I was doing. In some ways, I still don't. But Tommy Dietrich, who played bass in BJM for a few years in the early 2000s, told me once, "Personally, I hope you're not a slacker or an amateur. If you start down this path of making a book about the band, its early days, its legacy, I hope for the best that you see it done. I feel that you have a grasp on it." So there's that. At least I have a grasp on it, and Tommy's here too, because he put this whole shindig together, and actually he's just about to introduce me to the Dandy Warhols who are headlining this festival. So right now what I'm going to do is sip on this beer while I wait for him, think back to when and where this whole strange epic saga began, and hopefully, maybe, try to make some sense of it all. This is How to Piss Yourself in Style. Downtown Phoenix, 6th floor. Outside of the mediation room, I prep with Cyrus, pacing and sipping coffee as he sounds off instructions from a bench. "Don't talk, let me do the talking. You just kick back and look professional." Cyrus is my lawyer. I'm nervous, but we're confident, and damn do I look sharp. The handsome guy looking back at me in the mirror agrees. He winks, I sip, sweaty palms tipped with jagged fingernails, nibble, nibble, nibble. "You listening?" "Yeah," I say, pretending to spit out a piece of fingernail while filling a 7th cup from the complimentary pot to pump me up as I reflect on this pre-storm calm, waiting for the EEOC mediator to open the proverbial gates so that I may face our great corporate enemy on the field of battle. And if things don't pan out here, our next theater is court. Cyrus looks sharp too, sharper than me, but he's the lawyer. Your lawyer is supposed to look sharper than you. We can't dress exactly alike, that would be absurd. I sit on the bench, look down into the coffee, and bounce my leg. The cold electric light of the hallway dances prettily on my cup-steaming Americano muck waves, which slosh silently back and forth to the beat of my nerves. I let out a whew and wipe my brow. "You all right?" Cyrus asks, patting my shoulder. "Yes," I say, just a little anxious. I adjust my seated position and begin to psych myself into the task at hand. 2 years you worked for this company. Manager you thought was your friend says he fired you because you're slow, lazy, all-around terrible worker. A terrible worker who trained shift leaders without once being offered the position himself. A terrible worker who never called in sick, always came in when someone did. I slap my knee and turn to Cyrus. "You know," I say, "I think they've underestimated how smart I am." I agree I want him to say, but we don't know each other that well, so he sort of just acquiesces. Our mediator finally opens the door and looks over pointy beige eyeglasses at her clipboard, then to us. I suck in my gut to adjust my belt as I stand, the unpleasantness of which is noticeable in my facial expression. Her voice is pork gravy southern. I grab my coffee. "Mr. Martineau, Mr. Valencia," she says, but she pronounces it Valencia, likening my name to a venereal disease. "I think we're ready for you now." One more glance in the mirror, tug on the lapels. You got this. 10 minutes later, my lawyer argues brilliantly against our foe, a Mr. Cook. When Mr. Cook's general manager of the pizza joint in question asked my client to come into his office before his Monday shift, Mr. Valencia just knew in his heart that he was going to offer him the shift leader position. But instead, his manager said, "I'm going to have to let you go." Fired him, just like that, because Mr. Valencia is disabled, something Mr. Cook was made quite aware of when he hired him, quite aware. Cyrus argues brilliantly. I kick back and look professional. The infernal Mr. Cook approaches the field of battle in acid-wash Wranglers, greasy t-shirt, and baseball cap with his company's logo on it. One's choice in dress is a choice of armor. Mine is specially tailored adamantium, forged in the fires of Mordor. His is tinfoil. My weapon is a sharp-suited hotshot employment lawyer with a silver tongue. His is blue chicken scratch on yellow rain-rippled legal pad. The enemy's core argument hinges on the company's no cell phones while at work policy, which I clearly violate in the video presented as evidence. Bwaha, I think to myself. You think we haven't already strategized around this inevitable maneuver of yours? We're wearing suits. Cyrus materializes a folder 300 pages thick of witness statements and cited cases all notarized. It lands on the table with a thud. One of the statements is the assistant manager's, fired a week after me, claiming that the manager told her if I were to have another surgery on my leg, which has been gimped out since a car wreck almost 10 years ago, I would not be welcome back to work. I've had 5 surgeries on the leg since the wreck, and the whole time I was going through that, I worked, because that's what you do. I put my knee on a rolling chair, wrapped my leg around from the knee down in a pillowcase, and zoomed to and fro across tile, folding pizza boxes, helping customers, making profit for somebody else and a wage for me because I had to work to pay my bills, to put gas in the car. But in the process, I taught myself that I wasn't disabled, but differently abled, which I didn't expect to learn. Frankly, I think the limp fits my personality better anyway. There are ways of turning scars into badges. Cyrus goes through the statement and each subsequent document meticulously. The enemy tries repeatedly to interrupt him. The mediator repeatedly silences him until we've finished, at which point she repeats her quirky look over the glasses gesture. Mr. Cook, if you would like to respond, you may do so now. Our speechless enemy looks down at his legal pad, then at me, then Cyrus, then the mediator, then back to his yellow pad. Defeat fills his sullen face like Botox. Me and Cyrus glance at each other briefly, assuringly. The mediator taps a pencil on her clipboard and says, "Well then, if Mr. Valencia and Mr. Martineau could please wait in the hall." Kaboom. The condition of awarding me the 18 grand, a third of it went to Martineau, was that I could never step foot in any of this pizza joint's franchises again, nor could I work for any of their subsidiaries, speak ill of them publicly, discuss my case openly, as I am right now, and so on. We signed a list 3 pages long of things I enthusiastically agreed to be barred from. The rest of my cut went to catching up on some debts and to live comfortably here in Flagstaff as I finished my undergrad. But how sweet victory tasted like 12 bitter cups of free coffee from the 6th floor of a downtown Phoenix EEOC office. Next on the list for the day was to meet up with a potential hookup at Scottsdale Fashion Square Mall for our first date. We'd been friends for a while, and she knew about the mediation. I text her that it went well and I can't wait to see her, but really I can't wait to be seen in my suit. On the way out, I toss the styrofoam cup into the unreal trash can and waltz like I own the place back to my piece of shit car. What a beautiful day, I tell myself. On the freeway, I feel a tickle in my loins from all the coffee I drank, but I'm quick to be like, nah, I'll wait until I get to the mall. Certain I'd find a bathroom there because, well, there's bathrooms all over the place in malls, right? And I can hold it. If I held it all through the mediation, I can hold it until after she sees me, because she's got to see me in this suit. This shade of black really brings out my eyes. Speaking of which, remember to work those eyes, Jess. You work those eyes. I get to the mall and look right at home in Scottsdale with $40 cufflinks and $100 tie. She texts to meet her in the food court. Doesn't know I'm here yet. I have the element of surprise, but stepping out of the car so abruptly causes my bladder to drop severely, making relieving myself priority number 1. I shuffle hurriedly in one of the few ways someone wearing a tailored suit can shuffle hurriedly, but once inside I realize I don't know this mall that well. I only assumed I did. What's worse is that I'm so preoccupied with finding the nearest toilet that I don't know which way it is to the food court, which I had also assumed I'd know the location of without looking at a map or anything. Maybe there's a restroom down here? No. What about this way? Nope, and by now the diuretic aspect of the caffeine has kicked into full gear. I find a long store window, awkwardly press myself against it, bend knees, pull my phone out to look like I'm just taking a text break, but I'm not taking a text break. No, don't do the pee-pee dance, appearances are everything. Where am I? The Gap? Phone screen goes blurry. Hold it, Jesse, hold it. You're gonna make it. You look so professional, so handsome, so dashing in your suit, and she's waiting in the food court. After a painfully uncomfortable half-minute diaphragm squeeze, I manage to compose myself, contain the urge, and shuffle further in the direction of Macy's, arms extended out like wings, palms flat. There's bound to be restrooms flanking either side of the store, but I get to the end of the hall, and there's nothing. Holy shit, I really gotta pee. I behold the giant potted plants. They tempt me, but I can't. I just can't. Not in a suit. Oh God, all of these fucking upscale Scottsdale people dressed so nicely on their shopping outings, clacking around in Bluetooths and stilettos. You're gonna make it, Jess, I tell myself. You're gonna make it, but then sirens, blaring in E flat. Red lights flash throughout the mall and high-end stores are napalmed, strobe lights, explosions, screams of Mayday, Mayday, and I dash back from Macy's past Starbucks to try for the parking lot, but I don't. I don't make it. 20 seconds of warm and I am reminded of the buttered asparagus I had at lunch. My haste rendered pointless. I pocket my hands, stare at the mall floor tile, and limp the rest of the way to the parking lot. A trail of wet footprints pool behind me like clues in a bad crime novel, as a gaggle of teenage girls, whose shoes are very in this season and dare I say cutting edge, tiptoe past them, half in horror, half in hysterics. Maybe they don't smell the asparagus, I tell myself. Maybe they think it's just water. People get water on themselves sometimes. I thought about bailing, and I should have bailed, but it was too late. I'd already told her I was on my way, that I was excited to see her, and she'd already said she was excited to see me, was already waiting for me to escape. So to escape with my dignity intact would have constituted a carefully constructed, obligatory set of lies requiring great rhetorical finesse that, no matter what, would have made me look like a douchebag. There were no good options, so with the high of the legal wind still occupying my immediate mind space, I switched Jesse over to autopilot and hoped my confidence, charisma, and charm could overshadow my embarrassing appearance and embarrassment in general. Once at the car, I dig violently through the trunk and find a left and right flip-flop of different sizes. One brown, one navy blue. A size too small American flag t-shirt from Miley Cyrus's line that I just had to have, and a pair of swimming trunks reeking of chlorine. I dry myself off with various discarded fast food wrappers and change in the car, which is difficult, and at last make my way to the food court, which is frustratingly easy to find now, having left my soiled victory in a plastic Walmart bag at the bottom of the parking lot dumpster. Man, this is embarrassing. Hang on. I spot her buying a soda at some eatery, thick legs stacked in beige peep-toe wedges. And I love peep-toe wedges. They're always in. Form-fitting off-white skirt exquisitely complements her wafy but hippie frame. Wavy dark hair done up in an array that required effort with pins, clips, and ties, so that just a few obligatory strands tickle her shoulder blades. Minimal makeup to highlight her symmetrical features and flawless complexion. How very badly I wish I were her right now. I call to her and she turns, recognizes my face, but wonders briefly if I'm a member of the Tea Party, or maybe from Florida. As inside the Scottsdale Fashion Square Mall, the casino-like hum of consumerism and despair quasi-cloaks what I can only describe in retrospect as a Cosby-esque approach. Surprise, I say. Hey you, she hugs, though her eyes say much more. How'd it go? Really, really well. I think we won. That's great news. Yes. You don't sound too excited. Oh yeah, you can't let these things go to your head. And then a pause, an uncomfortable, awkward pause. Stars and stripes creep up my belly towards my chest, exposing damp piss fur. She crosses one ankle behind the other, eyes fluttering around to see if people are looking at us. We find our way to a table. I struggle in my different-sized flip-flops and realize I'm chafing. I thought you... Oh, no. I didn't wear this to the mediation. I wore a suit. A suit that is now dead in a trash can. Tug the shirt down. So long, dress slacks. So long, expensive hosiery. So long, squeaky pea shoes. Why'd you change? It was so stuffy up there on the 6th floor. I figured it'd be better if I just dressed comfortably. Dressed comfortably to see me? Comfort is important. Mayday. Work the eyes, Jess. Work the eyes. Shirt creeps. Tug. Uh-huh. Midway through us talking about her, she pretends to get a phone call, steps away from the tea-partying Floridian. Less than a minute passes. Hey, that was a friend of mine, very much in need of a favor, kind of an emergency. Oh no, I hope they're okay. Oh yeah, it isn't anything too serious, but I should go. Can we reschedule? Of course, I understand. Thanks, she says, you're too sweet. And with that, she departs in the direction of my asparagus-scented shame, which by now has possibly evaporated, leaving me to stare off somberly blank-faced, albeit with 18 grand on the way, as an exquisite pair of yummy wedged calves walk out of my life forever, and me not caring because I've pissed myself. In broad daylight, in Scottsdale, in a mall, in a suit. But hey, at least I did it in style. Thank you.